we're back to the wheel. Uh, yeah, not much to say. Let's just fucking spin it and see what's next. There's still some stuff I'm very excited for. Dr. Elise? What? The Royal Lady with the Lamp? This is another one I don't fucking remember. By the way, it's now like the next season's already started. In fact, it's been started for a few weeks now. Um, So I'm very slow at this, clearly, but I knew that was gonna happen. So whatever, we're just gonna be behind, I guess, and we'll catch up someday, maybe, hopefully. I say that now, and then in like 5 years, I'll be like 2 whole years behind, maybe even more. The Royal Lady with the Lamp? What is this? What? I don't even recognize this picture image. I usually at least like see the image and then I go, oh yeah, that one. I remember hearing about that one because I hear about people talk about everything. I have not heard. I've never even seen this in my life. This was added to Mal 2 seconds ago, and somehow got in my list. I mean, I guess that means it could be freaking amazing. Who knows? I don't know because I don't recognize any of this. What? When did this exist? Yeah, I'm so confused. I don't remember this existing at all. This has completely escaped my memory, and I heard no one talk about it. So I don't know. Probably shit, but let's find out. Let's find out. I don't actually want shows that I watch to be shit. Obviously, I want to enjoy things. I just want to get that out of the way because when people say like, "Oh," people always like to say, "Oh, you went into it wanting it." No, I don't actually. I don't actually do that. I wanna enjoy it. But let's find out. I'll be back when I've found out. Okay. Yeah, this is a drop. It's just bland. So like, look, the show starts out. First thing I notice is, holy shit, I'm not a fan of this girl's design. She's got like her head is just way too big for the rest of her body. And look, I know it's a thing. They're definitely going for that like the way girls always look in pretty boy shows where they're just like super bland and generic. Um, and I'm just not a fan of it, like at all in this case. The way she's drawn. But I have massive respect for this show for killing her off and isekaiing her with a fucking plane crash. That shit goes hard. A fucking plane crash? Not Truck Kun, move aside. Plane Kun is here to fuck shit up. It's a fucking plane crash. The engine explodes into flames and it crashes. She dies in a fucking plane crash. Like, excuse me? That's raw as hell. I love that. When that started happening, I was like, hang on, I'm here for this. But then the rest of the episode is just a big fat bland sandwich, and I ain't hungry for that. I'm not here for that. It's fucking it sucks so bad. It's not, I don't know, it doesn't suck so bad. It's just that it's super bland and it doesn't interest me, and so I don't want to watch the rest of it, and I'm not going to. Like, you can't have a cool plane crash every episode, so I know what the rest of the show is gonna be. It's what most of this episode was. The boring parts. So, yeah. I mean, epic that they killed her with a plane crash, though. It gets respect for that, at least, but it's not worth watching. Definitely not worth watching at all. At least, not for me. And we're back at the wheel. To wheel, spin, to wheel. What is next, wheel? The wrong way to use healing magic. I remember thinking that looked fucking bland. God damn it! Why do I keep getting bland shows right after one after the other right now? This is we are not in peak. We are not in peak form right now. Also, I know that it's like already almost the end of not even the next season, but the next season. I'm way behind, but Who the fuck asked you? So, I just got done watching the wrong way to use healing magic. Why did I say watching? Watching part of it. I dropped it. It's a fail. This is not a finish. This one's a fail. Finish or fail? That's the name of the show. Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not very good. It's a mad drop. It's an absolute drop. I actually liked it at first because when it started, there was this scene of like it's a very anime scene. The main guy is he's in school, and someone took his umbrella, so he can't go home because if he goes in the rain for 1 second, he'll get an anime cold. And then two people from the student council show up, and they're like, "Hey, what's up?" And he's like, "Oh, my umbrella." And so then the guy one hands him his spare umbrella that he has. And it's actually a really nice scene after that. They're walking in the rain with their umbrellas, and they're just talking. And the main guy's like, "Oh, I always thought you two would be so unapproachable, and I thought this and that about him." Like, he's just like, "I didn't realize you were so nice." And it's just this nice scene. Like, I feel like usually in anime, especially isekai anime like this, they really try to, like, for some reason they seem really into, like, making, you know, the cool kids, like, beat up on the main guy, because the main guy's, like, this outcast. I mean, he also is, like, accidentally summoned to the world, because they actually just meant to summon the two student council people, because they're accomplished, and all this stuff. It's, like, and so it feels almost like it's in that realm, where, like, they're gonna be, like, mean and dicks to the main guy for being this, like, loser, outcast, nerd kind of guy. But they're not. They're not. It just seems like they genuinely are just nice people, and he's not so much of a depraved freak that he's able to actually interact with them and be nice to them, and they're nice back. And so it's just these three kids walking in the rain, having this conversation, getting to know each other. It's all nice. There's no evilness or hatred in it. It feels very sincere. It was raining in the show. It was raining in real life. So I'm hearing the rain in the show, but I'm hearing the rain in real life. I'm like, this is a cozy scene. It made me feel nice and fuzzy and warm, and I just liked it. And I was like, damn, why can't this be the show? Then they get isekai'd, magic circle appears, oh, you've been isekai'd, and it's... They're in a room in front of a king, and he's like, "Oh, I summoned your heroes to beat the demon lord." I'm dying. I'm just like, you took this, it's just like, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, I knew it was coming. I knew it was gonna be an isekai. But fucking hell, it just became the most generic, boring shit ever after that. And then they start getting into the gimmick that, like, healing magic is rare, main guy's got affinity for healing magic. And then some chick who's, like, a big buff chick comes and she's like, "And this is how you use healing magic." And the show's called The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. So she's obviously gonna train him to use healing magic to be a buff daddy, instead of, like, a priest type healer. Okay, I don't care. Give me my sweet school romance, walk home in the rain moment. Take me back. Take me back. I'm sick of isekai. I can't do this anymore. Okay, it's ridiculous how much the difference in quality was. I was just like, oh, I was having fun for a moment. I forgot that that's not allowed. No fun allowed here. This is Isekai Town. Get out of here with that fun. You have to sit in a room and listen to the king exposit about a demon lord. It's like, oh, cool. The thing I've seen 50,000 times. I needed another one of those scenes in my fucking life. I'm never getting that time back. I will die very young and very sad and frail. And it's this show's fault specifically. That's a little bit hyperbolic, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy about this one. I'm being a little hyperbolic about how much I hate it. It's not the worst isekai that could be, right? Like, it's got its moments, and I liked it at first. It made me laugh a few times, actually. But I've just seen this a billion times. So in reality, what'll make me die very upset is very young and very sad is gonna be just the trends in general. But whatever. Whatever. I dropped it now. We can move the fuck on and get out of here. So yeah. Let's go back to the wheel. The wheel, please. I need I need to be saved right now. For the love of God. Save me. Save me. Set me free. What's up, gamers? Welcome back to the wheel. I spent 100 days in a wheel. This is what happened. We're gonna spin this wheel and get a new show. I want to watch something good. Give me something good. Oh? Oh! Oh! Finally! 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 Oh my god, I got high hopes for this. Finally, fucking, oh my god. I was wondering when this was going to come up, because this is kind of, this is the big one. This is the real big one. That's like popular with everyone, like solo leveling is like popular with normies and shonen junkies, but like Frieren is popular with like just everyone. And everyone who exists in the world ever been born. And it does look neat. It does look cool. I'm very much looking forward to this one. This is probably going to be the bulk of the video, me talking about this, assuming I watch it all. It's fucking... I'm so far behind. And now I've got a 2-core to watch, and I assume I'm going to watch all of it. So, I mean, I gotta get moving. I gotta go. I gotta skedaddle. I gotta go watch this now. Oh, where to even begin with this, gamers? So I just watched all of Frieren, all of it. I watched it all, because of course I did. Anyone who knows me and my taste was probably pretty obvious that I would really enjoy this. And yeah, I don't even know where to start with this one. It's really good in a lot of different ways. It's 28 episodes. It's a chunky boy. Yeah. The show starts off really strong. Episode 1, like, it felt like the episode was trying really hard to, like, be sad and emotional, and I was like, this ain't gonna get me. This shit ain't gonna get me. I don't give a fuck about these characters yet. There's no way this is gonna get me. But then it did get me. I didn't cry. I didn't cry in episode 1, but I did, like, I felt the pain, I felt the sadness, I felt also the beauty of it. It really just, it gets you. It's really good at just being what it wants to be, which, I don't know, that sounds like weird praise when I say it, but, like, a lot of shows can sometimes be really bad at getting you to kind of meet them on their level. Frieren is fantastic at always getting you there, whether it's comedy, whether it's, seeing the beauty of a moment, whether it's being angry at something, whether it's being chilled out and vibing, whether it's being happy. It always manages to, at least for me, it always felt like it hit the mark. It always felt like I was like, ooh yeah, I'm with the show on this. Like, I was always on the same page with it. It never felt like the show was doing something and I was like, I don't vibe with that, I disagree, yada yada. There was no suspension of disbelief being broken or anything, like, at any moment. It was just constantly, I was like, yes, this is where I want it to be. It was a little bit predictable in its progression. Like, often a section of an episode would start and I'd be like, oh, I know how this is gonna resolve, or I know the, like, slight little twist that's gonna happen later to this part. Like, it was always kind of obvious, but not in a bad way. It wasn't in a way that, like, caused a problem where I was like, oh, I know where this is going, and then because the show never treated even the like twisty bits as if they were this massive deal. They'd just kind of have it happen and be like, and that's how it is. And so if people don't see it coming, they'd be like, oh, but it also doesn't linger. So then the people that do see it coming are just like, oh yeah, that's what I thought. That's neat. It's still neat. It's still a good, neat idea. And I think it shows that the show is really good at just making sense. Like, you can tell, you can always tell where it's going because of that. So there's no, it's not a negative. It's like, oh, it's well written. I can tell where it was going. I can see the setup and the build up to these moments of payoff. And even then, it wasn't always super obvious. It just often was. But again, it's really not a bad thing. It just is something that I noticed fairly early on, actually. But yeah, the show is also fucking beautiful, both visually and emotionally. Like I said, like when it wants you to feel the beauty of a moment, it does that really well. Like you feel the beauty as well as see the beauty. A lot of good backgrounds. The backgrounds in this show are fucking bangers. The environments are bangers. The world as a whole is a banger. A lot of good world building stuff in there. Because it's able to it in a very economic way covers such a long span of time. I feel like everyone knows what Frieren is, so I'm avoiding like explaining it. But like, Frieren, she's an elf. She lives forever, so we see kind of the end of her journey with the quote unquote heroes party, and then that ends like the demon lord's already defeated. We skip forward 50 years initially, but then we skip forward like another 20 years right after that. 20 or 30, something like that. And then we go through this new journey that she takes after the original hero died, and that gives her a new perspective on life. This is the part in episode 1 that I was saying, like, this shit ain't gonna get me sad, and then it did. But yeah, so the whole passage of time, it's really able to use that really well, because it's able to basically create these parallels where even though we didn't see that original journey, they can just cut back to it and be like, hey, here's this thing that happened in the past. Here's, this person or this town or this tradition being carried on now. Here is how the past affects the present. It goes into things about the far past being forgotten over time, as more of the people who were there to experience it die off more and more. Things slowly lose their nuance, lose their details, and then eventually are just completely forgotten in every single way. And how that's both a good thing and a bad thing, because it's like, well, there's change and there's growth and there's humanity as a whole getting better and moving forward and making more advancements, and so these old things are getting forgotten because we don't need them, we've moved beyond them. But then there's also like important things being forgotten in that same way. And it just reminds you of the weight of time, the weight that time passing has, and how we'll all fucking be forgotten. We're all useless. We're all humans. We're not Frieren. We're not gonna live forever. We're gonna fucking die and be forgotten quickly, and and that's just a fate, Everyone feels like their life is so big and important, because they're the ones living it. But it's like, eventually, all that shit's just gone, and it's like, damn, that's both horrific and beautiful. And the show explores that in many facets. It explores both sides of that, and it's very interesting and very good at it. It also doesn't like ever feel like it's rushing. It always kind of feels like it's almost like here's the thing, it's like on a moment to moment basis it doesn't feel like it's rushing. In reality, this show covers a large span of time, even within just going from like Frieren starting her second journey here with Fern and everything, and then going till the end of the season. Like, even that's like multiple years. So it still covers a lot, but it never feels like it's rushing because on a moment to moment basis, it takes time to just kind of stop and just soak in some atmosphere. Or it does montages in a very good way. There's a few episodes that cover quite a large span of time, and they have a little montage in there. It just does them in such a good way. It just plays some chill vibe music and just lets it go, and you're just like, damn. And that's also part of like what I was saying earlier about the show. Just it nails the feeling you want to have. Yeah. But yeah, it's really cool the way that the show's able to show things evolving and changing over time and explore time. What else do I have here? I have notes, which are like the only reason I'm able to even make a little bit of sense instead of just going on tangent after tangent. Oh yeah, Stark. I have to talk about Stark because he's the best fucking character. Um, Stark is like take fucking blonde bitch boy from Demon Slayer, but then what if he was a good character? Stark is sometimes the comedic relief. He sometimes talks about how terrified he is and scared to do things, but when push comes to shove, he does it anyway, and he's able to have these big badass moments where he just fucking goes mental. But also he's awake when he does it, so you know, a little bit more respect there. Um, yeah, he has this like, oh, I'm terrified, but I'm gonna fight anyway, which is the same mentality his master had, and it's just good to have like a coward, somewhat comedy character that isn't annoying as fuck constantly. I never was pissed off with him. They actually, like, they're able to have a little bit of those, oh, isn't it funny? He's like scared and a coward and he's being dragged off to this fight. But then he just shuts up and does it, and he's like, yeah, I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And they never linger on that shit too much. Like, it's just like, it's so funny that this is a character that's constantly used in other shows, especially shonens, as like the coward comedy guy that just yells a whole bunch and he's so scared. Isn't that funny? And then, oh, surprise, he did a badass thing one time. It's like, no, this is how you do that shit right. Stark is that done right. He's the best, and his birthday in episode 12 is the best episode. Episode 12's the best episode. I'm going to go into this in a little more detail. Episode 12, first half of the episode is not his birthday. It's where they go to a village where there's a cave where there was a sword, and it's a sword in the stone situation. You know, you pull the sword out, you become the hero, and they also, yeah, the hero Himmel from the past pulled it out and then became the hero because he pulled the sword, obviously. And the leader of the town with the sword is voiced by Konami Kohara. She's only in this half of this one episode, so she's not even in that prevalent of a character. But hey, having someone voiced by Konami Kohara, I mean, you've won. You've won. You've just won at anime. I'm sorry, I love her so much. My favorite voice actress. She's the best. She's Shamiko from Demon Slayer. That's my default. Explain what she is. She's also Roxy in Mushoku Tensei, which is probably more well known in terms of her roles. Actually, she's also Chika in Kaguya-sama. Those are probably her three most well known roles that I just did there. But yeah, she's Shamiko. To me, she'll always be Shamiko first. Anyway, so she's in the episode Banger. Then they find the sword. It never got pulled out. But Himmel became a hero anyway. He tried to pull it out. He failed. He's like, fuck it. I'll just become a hero anyway. By fucking being the hero. Who gives a shit if I don't have this dumb sword? And then he did. What an awesome guy. I love that. I love that they did that. I love that they're just like, yep, that dumb old traditional shit, that didn't fucking happen. He just was like, whatever, I'll become the hero anyway. And then he fucking did. It's awesome. It's awesome. He proved it wrong. It's great. But then the second half is Stark's birthday, and there's all the setup of how he's like, he feels like he was never actually loved by his master or his family. He never really got given things on his birthday. this is the first time he's like ever gonna get gifts on his birthday when Fern gets him something. It's very sweet in that way. But then he gets home and Frieren's cooking some fucking Hamburg steaks, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Hamburg steaks. I always have those on my birthdays. That's just like a normal thing, right?" And then Frieren reveals that Hamburg steaks are given in like warrior cultures. They give Hamburg steaks to warriors on their birthday as a reward for like working hard. It's like, oh, you worked hard this year, you get the Hamburg steak, and he got that every year from his master and from his brother. His brother would cook it for him, not his parents. And then he also has flashbacks to when his brother told him to run and escape when their village got destroyed, and that's why he's the only one from his hometown still alive. And it's like, oh my god, he was loved and cared for by his master and his brother. They loved him, and then they fucking were trying to reward him with the Hamburg steak. He just didn't know. He didn't know the importance. That shit's so good. Finding out, like him finding out that he was in fact loved and cared for, is beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it very much. Banger episode. Episode 12 is peak. That's when the show hit its peak. But yeah, I mean the rest of it's good. Eventually the show starts off with this more slow kind of not slow, but like it's very like episodic almost. It's like kind of flavor of the week. Not even like episodic, it's like multiple smaller segments per episode. That's just these little adventures, these little moments that happen. And of course there's overarching stuff, and stuff changes over time, but like generally it's just very like this thing happened, and then later in that journey this thing happened, and then this thing happened, and sometimes it creates a bigger or smaller change overall. But for the most part, like things just progress like that until we get to the later half of the show, like kind of the last third, I think it's about, which is the magic exam. And magic exam is like super weird because this is where the show almost lost me. It becomes a lot more. There's a lot more battles going on. There's a bunch of new characters introduced very suddenly. It becomes very shonen, you know. It's very shonen to have like this exam thing going on. Introduce a bunch of characters to go along with it. It's not a tournament arc. It doesn't end up like devolving into a tournament arc, but it's very like similar in its almost tone and vibe surrounding it in everything outside of the actual exam itself, right? And yeah, there's a lot of fights. Suddenly it becomes very fight heavy, very like look at all these different characters and each one has their like unique thing, you know. It's very shonen. It feels like the Naruto Chunin exam, basically, especially the first exam does, the second one not so much, but the first one, it feels like the fucking Forest of Death, of the fucking Chunin exams, and I honestly hated it. I hated it so much. It had some good moments, the whole first part of the exam, it had some good moments, and when Frieren breaks the barrier, that's very sick. There's like a big barrier around this forest, and she fucking destroys it so that it can rain down because one of her allies uses water power, and so being surrounded by rain, it's like she suddenly becomes incredibly OP. And it's like, sure, those parts are cool, but for the most part, I just found a lot of the fights kind of boring, and a lot of the moments really boring. A lot of like introducing characters and having to show off their backstory, and just having them kind of sit around and have conversations because we need to start getting what their deal is. But yeah, it's kind of lame. And then the second exam is almost like the same thing. It has moments that I like, but overall, I actually found it kind of lame and a bit boring. It's a very bland environment. I just talked about how good the backgrounds are, but this is like, the same drab dungeon walls as the background for so many episodes. oh my god, kill me. It's so bland and boring looking all of a sudden, and I'm just like, oh, get me out of here. And then they sit around in a room for like 2 episodes going, oh, how are we gonna kill this Frieren copy? How are we gonna do it? Oh, let's all sit around and talk about it. And then next episode, oh, let's sit around and talk about it some more. And then we'll cut to like someone fighting some other clone. But then we'll cut back to before. Remember when we were sitting around and talking about it? Here's another section of that, which then reveals, oh, we planned for this next thing to happen. And now back to the conversation in the fucking room with the drab dungeon walls. Oh my god, how did the... Look, the show still has great characters, still has great moments, it's still very well done. I do love the show overall, but holy fuck, was the first two was the stages. They had some dud moments, some dud episodes. There's some misses, some real misses towards the end. I'm gonna get shit for this, aren't I? I'm not even saying the show is bad. I love the show, and I do love moments in there. Some people are gonna be like, oh, well, maybe it's a bit boring in there, but there's this good moment and this good. I agree. I just can't go over every single detail. There are many great moments. And before the magic exam, shows like a 9 out of 10 at least, possibly 10 out of 10. By the end, I can't say 10 out of 10 for me. I know on Mal, like over 54% or something of people gave it a 10, so I'm in the minority for not giving it a 10. Just by not giving it a 10, I'm in the minority, but yeah, it's a 9. It's definitely a 9. I'd say overall 9 out of 10. Banger show. But it's not quite in that like top fucking like that top like 2% of shows that get a 10 out of 10 kind of vibe, you know? It's not in that upper echelon. It's a 9. It's a 9 for sure though. Great show. I fucking love it. And I can't wait to see more. It seemed the ending of the season suggests that they're gonna do a season 2. I look very much forward to it. It's really fucking good. Madhouse, killing it like they always fucking do. They cooked, and we let them. We let them cook, and then they did. But yeah, just a banger show. Great characters, great animation, great moments, great world, great message, great themes, great backgrounds. And yeah, it's just a shame that the magic exam is like still got its moments, but also has some mid. It's got some mid, sadly, and I do hate to say that. I hope I explained myself well enough, because this is one area where I'm actually not sure if I am explaining myself enough with Frieren. Because there's just so much. There's so many episodes, and there's so much good to say about it, and so much different aspects to talk about that there's a bunch I haven't talked about, you know? So that's why I just have to repeat myself for like the 20th time. It's not a bad show. It's an amazing show. I fucking love it. So many good moments. So I'm sorry I even brought up not liking the magic exam. It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. I said it, but it's not a big deal. I just felt I had to say it because it's like the only small negative in this extremely great package. I guess, I don't know. I guess it just sucks that I ended on that because it makes it sound like I hate the show. I don't. I love the show. And I'm very worried about that not coming across clearly. I don't want to get shit for this, man. I fucking love this show. It's great. Alright? If you're gonna give me shit for disliking a few bits, fucking, I don't know, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. Calm down. Calm down. I loved it. We're in agreement. It's fucking amazing. Alright. But yeah. Good shit. Peak shit. Probably the best show of the season, and honestly the year. I wouldn't even be surprised if I gave it anime of the year. It's definitely the fucking best of this season. I find it very hard that something would be able to beat this in terms of me liking it for the season. I find it very hard that anything could achieve such a feat. Alright. I've been talking about this show for like 20 fucking minutes, so it's probably the end of a part. Yo, take a steaming hot dump on that subscribe button.